Welcome, fifth grade. Today you are going to be listening to American Sports Legends. Let me get it pulled up and started for you. Oops. There we go.
American Sports Legends, written by Jeffrey B. First. Focus question. Who are some American sports legends, and why do we remember them? The greatest athlete of the 20th century, Jim Thorpe, 1887 to 1953. Who would you say was the greatest athlete from the last century? Basketball's Michael Jordan? Hockey's Wayne Gretzky? These record-setting superstars revolutionized their sports and deserve to be in the running for that #1 spot. But the athlete named the greatest of the great was Jim Thorpe, a Native American born in Oklahoma in 1887. He played professional baseball, was the biggest football star of his day, and won many track and field events. Let's go back to 1912, to Stockholm, Sweden, during the Summer Olympic Games. The Native American runner crouches at the starting line for the Olympic 200-meter dash. It's the third event of 5 in the grueling pentathlon. On your mark, calls the starter. Get set. Jim Thorpe bursts out of the blocks. He has already scored an easy victory in the long jump, but has placed 3rd in the javelin throw. I need this race, he thinks as he runs. At the finish line, Jim Thorpe wins by a hair. Before he appeared at the Summer Olympics of 1912, Jim Thorpe was already a well-known college football star. As an All-American halfback from Carlisle Indian School in Pennsylvania, he thrilled crowds with his blinding speed and strength. Jim Thorpe starred on the school's baseball and basketball teams, too. He played golf, tennis, and many other sports. At the 1912 Olympics, Jim Thorpe represented the United States in the 2 toughest track and field events, the pentathlon, 5 events, and the decathlon, 10 events. Over the span of a few days, Jim Thorpe did the unimaginable. He won 4 of the 5 events in the pentathlon. Plus, he set a world record for the decathlon and won the gold medal in both events. When King Gustav V of Sweden called Jim to the award stand, he said, "You, sir, are the greatest athlete in the world." Always a man of few words, Jim said, "Thanks, King." Jim turns pro. Then, in 1913, Jim became a professional baseball player with the famous New York Giants. Although he was good at baseball, he preferred football. So in 1915, he joined the Canton, Ohio Bulldogs. Jim led his team to 3 championships in 1916, 1917, and 1919. He also played baseball during the summer months. In 1920, Jim became the first president of the American Football Association, which later became the National Football League. Today, a statue of Jim Thorpe greets visitors to the Football Hall of Fame. It is a tribute to the greatest athlete of the 20th century. The other babe, Mildred Didrikson Zaharias, 1911 to 1956. Jim Thorpe may have been named the greatest athlete of the 20th century, but sports lovers might also consider another athlete. Mildred "Babe" Didrikson was an all-around athlete who dominated women's basketball, track and field, and golf in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s. She was a serious, rough-and-tumble competitor at a time when women were expected to be modest and ladylike. Babe was born in Texas in 1911. In high school, she played volleyball, baseball, tennis, and basketball, the most popular women's sport at the time. Her high school team never lost a game. She often scored 30 points by herself, when 20 was considered a respectable total for the whole team. Babe lifted weights, which few women did at that time. Her serious workouts and skills paid off at a national track meet in July 1932. She entered 8 events and won 5. What's even more amazing is that she won the meet by herself, competing against teams with 20 members. A few weeks later at the Summer Olympics, Babe won gold medals and set world records in the 80-meter hurdles, javelin, and high jump. Babe later drew attention to women's basketball by putting together a team that toured the country playing against men's teams. No game she can't play. Babe's real fame was yet to come, and in a different sport, golf. She didn't pick up a club until age 21. Just a year later, in 1935, she won her first championship. In the next 20 years, Babe won 82 tournaments, including 17 in a row in 1946 and 1947. In 1953, Babe was diagnosed with cancer. Her doctors thought she would never play again. Only 4 months after an operation, she was back on the Pro Tour. It is the 18th hole of the Serban Women's Open Tournament in Miami Beach. Babe Didrikson's booming first shot lies in the center of the fairway. Her next shot sinks the ball. She has won the tournament just 10 months after cancer surgery. Her family and fans were devastated when the cancer returned. Babe Didrikson passed away at age 45. Her life of sports achievements gained her a place in 2 halls of fame, golf and track and field. But her real legacy is the lasting example of her independent spirit. Babe was brave and blazed a path for women athletes. Baseball's most daring player, Jackie Robinson, 1919 to 1972. What would Major League Baseball be like today without African American and Latino superstars? How might the Hall of Fame look without Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, or Roberto Clemente? It might be very different were it not for the courage and determination of Jackie Robinson. In 1947, he became the first African American to play Major League Baseball. Black and other non-white people were discriminated against in many ways, including in sports. Only white players were allowed to play in the major leagues. So baseball-loving black players formed their own Negro leagues. The general manager of the Brooklyn Dodgers, Branch Rickey, knew it was wrong to keep good players out of the major leagues. It was wrong for the players and wrong for baseball. He wanted to add non-white players to the teams, but he knew it wouldn't be easy. Then he discovered Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson could hit, run, and field as well as anyone. His daring style of running bases excited fans and unnerved opposing players. He could beat opponents with a bunt, a blast, and, most importantly, his brain. After a year in the minor leagues, Jackie joined the Brooklyn Dodgers. Robinson's rookie season was an ordeal. Opposing players yelled insults at him. Pitchers purposely threw at him. Fans booed. Even some of Jackie's teammates treated him badly. Jackie took it all with quiet dignity and determination. He never lost his temper and never fought back with his fists. In his rookie year, he hit solidly, led the league in stolen bases, and won the Rookie of the Year award. In 1949, he won the National League batting title and the Most Valuable Player award. By 1950, he was the highest-paid Brooklyn Dodger and the team's leader. It is the first game of the 1955 World Series between the New York Yankees and Brooklyn Dodgers. The Dodgers have been in 7 World Series and lost every one. Wait till next year had become the fans' cry. Jackie Robinson leads off third base. He's at the end of his career, but he is still a dangerous base runner and a joy to watch. He takes an extra step toward home plate, then another. He dives back to third, safe. Jackie stares down the pitcher and resumes his big lead. He darts right, then left, then off he goes. The pitch flies to the plate, but not in time. Jackie is safe at home. The fans go wild. Jackie's bold steal of home pumps up his teammates, and they go on to win the World Series. In Brooklyn, next year, has finally arrived. Jackie Robinson showed that skill was what mattered. Soon, other teams began to hire Black and Latino players. Today, the national pastime of the United States is made up of players and management of all races and nationalities. Jackie Robinson will be remembered because he broke baseball's color barrier. His inner strength and commitment to equality made it possible for all players to participate equally in professional American sports. The Fastest Man, Jesse Owens, 1913 to 1980. Jesse Owens burst onto the sporting scene in junior high school in Cleveland, Ohio. He set world records for his age group in the high jump and long jump. The high school track coach invited Jesse to join the team, but Jesse had to work after school and couldn't practice. Instead, he got up at 5 a.m. to train with his coach. At a national high school track meet, Jesse tied the world record for the 100-yard dash. He also set a new world record for the long jump. In 1935, at a college championship meet, Jesse set new world records for the 220-yard dash, long jump, and 220-yard low hurdles. He tied the world record of 9.4 seconds for the 100-yard dash. Never before had a track and field athlete achieved so much. An Olympian for Eternity. In 1936, just before the start of World War II, Jesse traveled to Berlin, Germany, for the Summer Olympic Games. But his participation in the Olympic Games was controversial. Nazi leader Adolf Hitler ruled Germany. Nazis believed that Aryans, non-Jewish white people, were better than everyone else. They called black people primitive. Jesse was not frightened by Hitler's attitude or by threats. He firmly believed that individual excellence distinguished one person from another, and he proved it on the track in Berlin. It is August 1936, the final day of the Olympics. Jesse Owens has already won the gold medal in the 100-meter and 200-meter races. Chancellor Hitler will not shake his hand. Being snubbed does not bother Jesse. He is focused on the long jump. He almost did not qualify because earlier a German judge claimed he fouled. Now Jesse and Lutz Long, a German, have both jumped 25 feet 10 inches. It is the final round. Jesse sprints down the path. He springs into the air and sails into the landing pit for a record-setting leap of 26 feet 5.5 inches. Another gold medal. Jesse set out to do his best at the 1936 Olympics. He earned 4 gold medals, a first in Olympic history. Jesse returned from Germany to a ticker tape parade and cheers, but little else. At that time, black athletes did not get product endorsement or appearance contracts. To earn a living, Jesse participated in promotional stunts. He went on to be a playground director and a well-known speaker. The government named him America's Ambassador of Sports. Later in life, he was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Jesse Owens' grandfather had been a slave. Jesse demonstrated that it is not where you come from that determines what you achieve. That is the legacy of Jesse Owens, a man who was always a step ahead. Do you know? Jesse chose to go to Ohio State University, even though it was one of the few colleges that did not offer him a scholarship. He worked as an elevator operator, waiter, and gas station attendant to support himself and his young wife, Ruth. Connect.
I hope that you enjoyed that story.